what can we do to decrease volume? Breathy, like making the note breathy. Emily, you told us that volume comes from the breath, the vocal fold closure, and your resonance. So if we do the breathy singing, we're addressing the middle piece, the vocal fold closure, and a lot of times more vocal fold closure equals louder / more powerful, also a little pressy, a little squeezed. So practicing some breathy singing can help ease that squeeze, that compression in your vocal folds. Hey Voxstar, and welcome to From Singer to Artist. I'm Lara Chapman, award-winning singer and songwriter turned viral vocal coach and the host of this show. At VoxTape Studios, we help singers from all over the world level up their voices by teaching them the 3 fundamental skills all singers need: technique, awareness, and artistry. Whether you're looking to go pro or just develop your voice for fun, my team and I are here to help. Check the link in the description to book your first session or grab some of our other resources. Alrighty, are you ready? Let's get started. I have 3 of our wonderful VoxTape Studios coaches with me here in the studio to talk about volume in singing. Welcome, Coach Emily,
Hey.
Coach Juliana,
Hello.
and Coach Bree. Like I said, we're going to be talking about volume and the role of volume in the singing. And I think the majority of this conversation is going to be, you don't need to be so loud. Thank you.
But I have a hot take about it.
All right, hot take. Does he still live? Pickle the cactus?
Pickle? Hot take!
Just keeps going higher. Oh.
I can't stop when I hear him. I gotta just keep going.
What's your hot take?
My hot take. So, yes, that's true. That you probably don't need that much volume. But I have picked up on, predominantly with women, there is some sort of fear about being heard.
Oh,
About letting
generational trauma.
Yeah, literally. About letting your voice out. So you may be too loud, but you also might not be letting your voice out. You might be holding back and then pushing through that. So reducing volume will help a little bit, but part of it is allowing yourself to feel free enough to make sound and to make a lot of sound. Yeah. And that's my hot take to start.
No,
I
think
love
that's a
that
good one.
because I've ran into students that I'm like, why won't you sing? And they're like, I am scared to be loud.
Yeah.
I'm scared to be too loud. And so they're definitely like, is both sides of it, and there's people on both sides.
Absolutely.
Right? Like, and I think that's so important to realize whenever we're talking about any aspect of singing is that one piece of advice is not fit all.
Yeah.
Never.
Yeah.
An instruction I'm giving at the 30-minute mark in your lesson, I might contradict at the 40-minute mark because it's a different
gotta
situation.
pull back, yeah.
You know, like, it's so far from one size fits all.
Yes. And even like you said, just like per singer, it can even be different within a 10-minute time frame.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think it's important to like tell the difference between volume and power.
Yes.
It's so important. I feel
Yes.
like it is so tricky. Like I have a couple of students, but I'm thinking about one specific one right now, where she tells me, I just feel like I'm screaming. And I'm like, okay, you're saying you feel. What do you feel? Like physically, what is the feeling or the sensation that's telling that you're screaming? She's like, well, like right here is just like pressure. I'm like, it's a pressure because it's hurting, because it's squeezing, or you just feel vibration because you're creating sound. It's like, oh, I think it's just vibration. I'm like, okay, then you're not screaming.
Yes.
Volume.
No,
So
it's crazy running into people that are like super sensitive to like their own body's vibration.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
Like I ran into that with some students I can't do lip trills with because they're like
The buzz in the nose is
much of a
just
buzz
too
in the
much.
nose.
I don't like a V because I don't like sustaining
Yeah,
that. And
yeah.
like my whole body is like.
It is.
But
Yeah.
even like I had a student ask me one time, oh my gosh, is that how I know it's my chest voice? Because I feel it in my chest. And I'm like,
That's why they said that 200 years ago, but not really.
So before we go further down this rabbit hole, maybe we should talk about just real quick. Volume means like the decibel, like, right? Like
Yes.
how loud it is. But what do we do in our singing that determines volume? This is probably a master degree kind of question.
Well, there are a couple things. So like we're talking about power, but I think what we would like to do is use acoustics to our benefit.
So like, what are all the different elements that go into changing volume?
Changing volume. So we have our air, we have, phonation, vocal fold, pressure, and then we have...
Like the closure?
Closure. Because again, if we're in a light head voice that's not getting a lot of closure, right? Like I'm not particularly being breathy there, but I'm not being super loud, like, doing something else.
Yeah.
And then we get into the vocal tract / pharynx and shaping that with your articulators.
The resonator.
The resonators. Are you a formant queen? Do you know?
It came up a lot in my classical training.
Yeah. When it comes to volume and power, right? I like to think just lay off the effort and let the acoustics do the work for you. So we can get, there will be an acoustics episode where we'll definitely break it down. But we have two main things that we do. The megaphone that's like, ah, and the inverted megaphone that's like, ooh, ooh, where it's bigger in the back and the inverted, smaller in the front. Opera, that's what you're going to want to do for classical. Right? That's one kind of resonance. Or the other one, which leans you into twang. Twang's a whole thing. Because I can do, one thing I like to do to demonstrate this is I just sustain a note and move my mouth around. So if I do... I'll just do, I didn't do really anything at the vocal fold level. I mean, I'm sure a little something happened, but all I did was move around my articulators. And what did you guys experience, I'll say, in terms of volume?
I mean, the brighter sounds sounded louder.
Yeah.
We don't have a decibel
an SPL.
Yeah.
Which get an app for it today. Get a decibel.
I
have an awesome app.
I'm getting an app for it. What's it called?
Look at SPL meter. I actually
SPL meter.
It's awesome.
That one.
There it is. Yeah. I like this app because it has a comparison, a reference chart for you.
Whoa. Wow.
Whoa.
Can you do that again? And you probably have to do separate, not moving between, or does it actively
It actively does it. Even now, you can see it change as I talk.
do that again.
Screen record it while you're doing it.
That's a great idea. It's actually, it should be an arm's, could you hold it? It's supposed to be an arm's length away from me.
Yes, I can.
I can screen record. So, yeah, that should be good. It's an arm's length.
All right.
So we want to see what the state of the room is. It's 31, 32. When I'm talking, it's getting up to
60?
60 when I talk quiet. Actually, this is normal when I talk at a normal volume. So I'm just going to demonstrate in some different timbres. So we have.
That's almost 90. That is 80! You guys, that's less loud.
Yeah.
That's crazy.
It's 84, 85 in the middle.
Yeah. I think that's really what I did.
But how we perceive it
It is
was
so
totally different. Holy fork balls, whatever that's saying.
The ear canal.
I wasn't
What are you going to say?
I just want to speak to that because I don't know the science of it, like you're about to explain so beautifully, but that is what I heard a lot in my vocal training studying classical music was you have to pierce through the room. Think about it. Classical singers, if I'm singing with a symphony orchestra, if I'm singing on the stage at the opera, and there are microphones present to record and capture the audio, but they are not being used to amplify the audio. So you're in these performance halls that all you have is your instrument and your resonators and the room and how it's built to carry you through. And as an opera singer, you have to beat the orchestra every time. And you don't do that by being louder than the orchestra. You will never be louder than an orchestra. But you do it by finding those frequencies.
Yes, absolutely. It's formants. Don't ask me more about formants, but it's formants.
What are formants?
Formants are peak resonances in the vocal tract.
Dude, like
That
my
happens at like
mind is
perfect alignment.
Yes, like they got to be in perfect alignment.
Everything is doing
So-
exactly what it needs to do, and it's just like magic. And like there were a couple times that my professor would be like, "There you go. That's the format right there." And it's hard to reproduce.
It's yes.
But it was magic.
question. My parents at home have like a metal pole for like a structural thing because they did some remodels. And when you hit a certain note, that pole starts ringing with you.
Everything is a fundamental frequency.
Yeah. Yep.
It's like the zzz.
Yeah, the glass.
Yeah.
The
Yeah. Well, that's why glass shatters.
Yeah.
Like
That's
when you have
why
to high pitch.
even when we're not talking and the room is quiet, it's 31 decibels in the room
Yeah.
because
though it's
everything
quiet.
has a
Yeah.
bass
And
frequency.
there's a girl on TikTok that like bursts glasses with her voice, and she was debunking that it's not the highest.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
just the
It's just
frequency itself.
matching the
It could be like a lower note, but it's the
Yeah.
frequency, and then so cool.
Yeah.
You guys.
Yeah, because if you find it and you and match it, it's disrupting.
It is
that's
science.
crazy.
Yeah, it has
Yeah.
nothing to do with like the pitch itself. It's
Yeah.
So we like literally just proved like with science that loud like volume and power are not the same
They are
thing.
not the same thing.
Like the science proves it. Like because your brighter tones sounded more powerful.
louder.
Yeah.
They
And-
sound louder, but it was not actually louder.
And that would cut through a room and beat
that's
an
an
orchestra.
evolutionary thing as well, because those frequencies, and this is why twang works, right? We have resonances coming out of our mouth, but we also have things resonate in our ear canal.
Yeah.
So those brighter tones are have very similar frequencies to a baby cry. And that's why it hits your ear as so much louder. Our instincts are like, we need to hear this, right?
Yeah.
Our bodies are alert to it.
We need to take care of the baby.
Take care of the baby.
Yeah. And to that point, like when I'm walking through like adding twang and relying on twang to carry through like a high mix belt like passage with a student, where I'm talking about it's going to be less volume than you think it is.
Yes.
And it's going to take less power than you think it does. But if you can make the resonance
Get it
align,
there.
it's going to sound so loud.
Okay. Oh, this happens all the time in lessons. And so a lot of times, people are like, okay, how can I hit these high notes, like more belty, more powerful, right? And therefore also louder. And I'm like, cool. I hear you. Well, also, have you considered, like, especially when you're like coming down, oh, what's that Chapel Roan song?
Good luck,
Big
babe.
Pony Club, I'm gonna keep on dancing at the, right? So you're coming down in pitch. And so instead of going, dancing at the, right? Now you're like, oh, well, that top note clearly wasn't very powerful or / loud. But if you just keep the dancing at the, and you're not making that big transition,
Yeah.
it actually sounds more powerful, even though it's not powerful,
Yeah.
more powerful.
Yeah. Yep.
I mean,
Tricking the
this was
brain.
like demonstrated really poorly in like a head voice. But you know what I mean,
Yeah.
right? So
Yes.
like if everything becomes more smooth, everything is perceived more powerful and louder.
Tricking the brain. Tricking the brain is such a thing. Setting yourself up for success before your big note, and then tricking tricking it. Another thing is, this is kind of part of tone as well, but another thing is if you use a heavier chest and some lower notes right before a high belt, set yourself up just for success.
Contrast.
We're probably gonna pick it up as a high belt because we're expecting it, right? Or as something a little thicker because we're expecting it.
Yeah.
Not every time, but if
Interesting
you,
perspective.
yeah, especially for a mixy chica like me, a mixy girl like me. I love yeah.
Mixy
So yeah, that's why you don't have to make the volume happen.
Yeah.
You don't have to make the volume happen. Just let it happen for you.
And I usually say like 80% of what you can do, you never need to go beyond that.
Right.
Yeah.
Like I know there's like a clip of Lady Gaga saying like no matter where you perform and how many people are in the audience, you always have to give it 100% of what you've got. And I agree performance-wise.
Yeah.
Not vocally wise.
Vocally, like especially when we look at the amount of power that your voice can create and
Yeah.
volume, not then, because at a certain point, and for me, that's like the 80% mark. If you go beyond that point, it just becomes more effort.
Yes.
But the result doesn't
There's not
really
more payoff.
change.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Actually, kind of the opposite usually. The tone or the quality of the sound that you're creating
Tension.
almost like decreases. Exactly.
Yeah.
It's tension.
Go ahead.
Which I would take that even a step further. Like if 80% is your new 100%, 80% is reserved for the big moment in the song, and that's it.
Yeah.
Your like where you're sitting the rest of the time and your average effort level, you should expect to be between like 30 and 50%.
Yeah.
Like all the time. That should be your constant. And if you're doing more than that, you're probably getting
Working
tired
too
too
hard.
quickly.
Yeah.
And you're working too hard.
Working too, and no one wants to work.
Like 100% of your voice is for opera singers. You use 100%
got
of your
it.
voice to fill that room and beat the orchestra. Like not by brute power, but like you're using 100% of your instrument to be able to like be in that space.
Yeah.
Yes.
But when contemporary singers like we don't have to beat an orchestra. We don't.
We have microphones.
We have microphones. That's
Yes.
part of the whole thing. Yes. I always say replace effort with energy.
Yeah.
Like think that your voice, and this is all imagery, this is I think obviously not science. Think that your voice is covered in like electric blue power, cartoon, Like I remember always in dance classes, they would say extend through your fingertips. So you're not just like here, you're not just like you're extending all the way through. It's lengthening through your body. But that doesn't mean that I'm like tensing my whole arm to make that happen. And so like with that, like, what is it? Pink Pony Club, I'm gonna keep on dancing at the, like, I didn't particularly do anything other than not go, I'm gonna keep on dancing at the pink, I didn't lose my energy and my pizzazz.
Yeah.
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 You gotta keep the vibes up.
I like that a lot. Converting it into energy.
Yeah. Well, think of like, there's such a big trend in like independent artists and like indie, like alternative styles of like this whisper singing of like we're right up on the mic. Think of Billie Eilish.
Yeah.
And her songs are incredible and people are so drawn to them. And she's singing this loud the entire time. Except for in Birds of a Feather when she like actually belted for the first time.
Yeah.
And I love hearing her talk about that because it's freaking awesome. But you know what I mean? Like there's so many people that I'm like, no, all you have to do is get to right here because the less you're worried about power, the more we can think about finesse. And that's, we obviously want to be able to have access to like the finesse and all of the other like nuances in any part of our voice and range and volume. But a lot of times that's where singers can start. That's like the first place that we can access it is when we take it down.
Take it all the way down.
Then you have so much more to play with, and it's way more impressive to jump from
Way
here.
more fun if you're not just like trying to sing as hard as you can.
Yeah.
Like channel that into energy volume. That's another conversation I have with people. Like when they're like, well, people tell me I'm too loud and this and this. I'm like, well, here's the thing. Like, one, let's evaluate what too loud means, right? For you. Because maybe you are just using way too much effort. But also there are other ways to go all out. And that's like going back to the energy, but also just channel it into artistic expression.
Yeah.
I love to slide around. I love a slide. I love a fall off. I love a cry. I love some fry. To me, that's what brings a song to life. Not, wow, she sang so hard the whole time.
No, it's the dynamic
Honestly,
range.
that's a turn off. Like if I hear somebody singing so hard the whole time, I'm like, okay.
You can tell. It's an energy thing. You're like,
And as an audience member, we feel
Cringe.
nervous. Yeah. We feel
nervous. I hope they're not going to crack.
yes.
Yeah. No, it's like the dynamic range needs to be there. And I feel like a lot of singers are, you're on either end. You're either like, I don't want to be loud at all, or they're like, I'm not loud enough. I need to get louder or more powerful.
Yeah.
Right. And it's like, okay, but we could have a little bit of both.
Happy middle.
Because otherwise, And also like going to that 80%, which is the new 100%, but only for a little bit.
Yeah.
And the
Let that
rest
be your
is, so that you have the back and forth, the push and pull, the contrast, the dynamic range. That is so important. So don't
And you
just
might not even be touching that in every single song you sing.
no.
no need.
So I think the question that singers should ask themselves is, how can I use not my whole dynamic range for every song, but, how can I make the song interesting to listen to, and play around with the volume there. So what are y'all's best tips for increasing volume if we actually do have to increase volume?
That little app on your phone, arm's length away from you. Look at what the room is like. Look at what number it goes to when you're speaking, and if when you sing it like shoots up. Let's take a look at that.
Having a visual with
Having
what
a
you're
visual
doing.
as you're doing it as well.
Yeah.
You don't want to hold it. You want to put it up. That's why I asked you to hold. You want to put it up on something. If you have a music stand or like a table or something.
Yeah.
Yeah. Also, the acoustics of your space.
Yes.
If you're singing in a fully carpeted room, go brighter. That's going to help your sound shoot out. If talking contemporary. And if you're singing in like a very resonant, woody place, you can warm it up and back off a little bit.
Love.
Yeah.
You guys have any tips for increasing volume / power? We know it's not the same thing, but
Yeah.
it's the effects that we're looking for.
I feel like this touches a little bit more on tone and all of that, but focusing on the other elements of singing, like breath control, management, vowel shapes, consonants, like everything that can give you energy and power so that you can control that volume and not let it be like too little or too much.
Yeah.
Thinking about singers that tend to hold back and are scared to be too loud, is to like get into your body and like move around a little bit. Start singing like passively around your house. I tell people this all the time, and it's so true. And it'll be true until I die. But like, I had the biggest vocal breakthroughs in college in my university studies when I was singing in the shower, or when I was cooking, or when I was doing anything else but intentionally practicing in my home.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're not overthinking at that point.
Yep.
You're not overthinking it at that point, and that's the whole thing. So like, there is a lot of thinking that's involved in singing and learning about the craft and the instrument and how to use it well, but too much thinking is gonna get in your way.
Yeah. Yeah. Primal sounds kind of go into what you're talking about. So primal sounds are basically, correct me if I'm wrong, but they're basically like you're just using everyday sounds and you're trying to apply them into your singing. So like a, hey,
that like guttural sounds that you know how to, that your body has always known how to make.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So that, I feel like accessing that part of your voice is going to help you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then just like the mind, like get out of your own way. But that's what you were talking about with like distracting yourself.
Yes, and to bounce off the primal sounds and getting out of your own way, I'll often tell students to think about who you're talking to in this song. I mean, that's an acting technique, but just in like, where is this song taking place? Does it take place inside or outside? Are we talking here? Are we talking here? Am I calling to you upstairs? Like that's going to change. And that's another way to be in control of your volume, because, I know what it's like to talk to you right here. I don't have to yell. And I know what it's like to talk to you. And if I'm asking for something upstairs, I'll say, hey, can you bring me a glass of water? Like, I'm not yelling. I'm not making the sound come out, but because I have a need, an intention with what I'm trying to get.
Basically, trust your body.
Trust your body.
Your body knows what to do to get the sound that you want.
Yeah.
Now just get out of your own way.
Yeah. Focus on something else.
Yeah. So the opposite now, that was like, I do have one more volume increase tip, and I already said it, but I'm going to say it again. Just decrease your volume everywhere else. Thank you very much.
Amen.
Like, you don't need to be more powerful on the top note. You just need to do less everywhere else, and then that top note is going to be more powerful.
It's going to be right where you want it. Yeah.
So I already said it, but I wanted to say it again. Anyways, so opposite now. What can we do if we're loud and I can't decrease it? What can we do to decrease volume? Any tips for that? I can go if y'all are still thinking.
Go
okay,
ahead.
Breathy, like making the note breathy, and just working, because a lot of times Emily, you told us that volume comes from the breath, the vocal fold closure, and your resonance. And so, like what did you call it? Your articulators? No, you called it resonance. What did you
Your
call it?
pharynx?
I don't know, whatever. It's all the same thing. It's not all the same
Vocal
thing,
tract,
but the vocal tracts. So anyways, so if we do the breathy singing, we're addressing the middle piece, the vocal fold closure, and a lot of times more vocal fold closure equals louder / more powerful, also a little pressy, a little squeezed. So practicing some breathy singing can help ease that squeeze, that compression in your vocal folds, and that should automatically make you a little quieter, a little softer in your voice. And then beyond that, practicing in your head voice. And just, making that lighter, dragging the head voice down.
Yeah. Increasing the head voice range down is super important. Like, I am a recovering screamer.
Who isn't?
And
Me also.
And I did classical training for 4 years in college.
Sorry.
And I had a decent control of my head voice, but I couldn't crack mixed voice for years. Like, I was taking voice lessons for 10 years before I got to college. And we were always working on mixed voice, and I was like, okay, it's progress, but like, it's just really difficult. And then I went and studied opera, and for like contraltos, mezzo-sopranos, and sopranos, we're singing 100% of those songs in your head voice, in your upper register, the entire time. So now I can take my head voice down to a G below middle C, which is ridiculous.
Yeah,
like,
it's really low.
Normally where I would expect contralto, mezzo, sopranos to like be able to bottom their head voice is like at least an E4. That's the hope. Some people can't even get that low. But that's like baseline. If we can get there, we're gonna have good functionality. Because most of our breaks are like somewhere in the like A, B to like D.
Yeah,
range.
A to D. A to D is, I find a lot is chest to like, you can no longer be in pure chest.
Yeah.
Yes.
To like that sort of mix.
Yeah.
If you're really bringing it up. And then I find E4 to a G is like another chest to mix, depending on how chest dominant you are. Also, I just want to point out, we were talking earlier, like we're soprano ladies, and I've been like singing in my head voice since 8th grade because I had decided one summer it was time for me to be a soprano. So I spent the summer learning how to sing soprano. Okay. I want to play Glinda too.
Period.
Like,
You want to play all the parts.
I want to play all the parts. That's my dream. Hey, anyone who's listening, my dream job. I want to cover Glinda, Elphaba, and Nessa Rose. Let me do it. Let me do it. But I've been singing those three. And I think that's also why we were like, we aren't screamers.
No.
Because we're head dominant, and then we bring our mix to life from there. Yeah.
Yeah.
I wish. That's not me.
And like for me, like it was hard to chest.
Yes, me too.
Like my chest was, I was like, I don't know what
My
to do.
chest was a mix until someone was like, you're not
My
in
roommate's a
chest.
soprano, like the most classic soprano you've ever heard. Like, and she's like, I just can't sing that low. And it's like a G4. And I'm like,
Oh, yeah.
God.
That was me. That was me in another episode.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. No, I live down there. But
Yeah.
like practicing a soft chest voice, like for recovering screamers like you and me, like obviously practicing your head voice and dragging your head voice down. And with that also practicing a soft chest voice. And again, that goes kind of like back into decreasing the squeeze or like the closure in your vocal folds.
Relaxation. I think just like relaxing everything. Because I feel like loud singers tend to just be like super tense everywhere because they're like trying to get that sound out. I was like, okay, let's start with your shoulders. Let's roll it out. Move a little.
One thing, also higher and louder pitches both require more air. So often that happens together. And the higher you go, the louder you go. So I think isolating the two of them and doing quite high pitches and I guess we could say like kind of breathy loud pitches. We can see what that looks like. But letting your air flow through, like instead of like I'm still pretty loud, super bright, but pretty loud. So I think separating the two can be helpful.
Yeah.
Kind of very similar to like bringing the head voice down.
Well, and your example here, like it was very bright sounding, like very like twangy, right?
Yeah.
And so if we want to decrease perceived power, which again, it's
Start
not actually
warming it up,
louder, but start warming it up. And how do we do that? Like drop your larynx,
Yeah.
right? Like create more space back there. Yeah.
No, it's still, well, I'm twangy as hell. So I'm talking like this, you know? Like, but yeah, absolutely.
That changes the perceived volume, the perceived power, right?
Exactly.
Even though it's not actually changing the volume, but the perception of it is important too.
I think I would bring it out of the song and go back to let's find these words in speech, because somehow, like, just singing aside, it's pretty easy for you to ask somebody to speak at different volumes, and we're able to do that pretty easily. So if I'm like, the wizard and I, and then you say it louder, the wizard and I, and then it's like, okay, well, let's take it down, like, the wizard and I. Okay, if we can speak there, we can sing there.
Yes.
The wizard and I, right? Like, but also remembering that when we're decreasing volume, we're not decreasing breath support. Okay, thank you.
Yeah, you're not bringing it all down.
We're not using less air to create less volume. We're not holding back on air to create less volume. And we're definitely not holding our breaths.
We're definitely not holding our breath.
Definitely not
Actually,
holding our breath.
really similar to your exercise. I've been pairing speech with air lately to help with volume, and just keeping it controlled and making sense to the brain and the body. Right? Like, I'll do the wizard and I as well. You know, like we'll start the wizard and I. Great, taking a breath that you think that you need for that phrase. The wizard and I. Okay, let's raise the pitch. The wizard and I. Now let's sustain. The wizard and I. And then bring it up. The wizard and I. The wizard and I. And sometimes we do need to add a little bit of volume, but if you start getting there, like, all right, let's keep the breath where it is. Play with that like voice volume scale. But yeah, exactly what you've been doing, but adding in like thinking about your breath.
Yeah, I love that.
Been doing that lately. Cool.
Very cool. And I guess I'll say too, I look at your chest voice as the power, as the source of power, and your head voice as the source of flexibility. And again, like, volume and power are not the same thing. And we have established this multiple times at this point. But if we want to be more powerful / louder, make it more chest dominant. If we want to be quieter, make it more head dominant. And this is like super, super generalized.
You got to find your key in.
Yeah.
You know, you got to find your way into it. And I think that's a great way.
Yeah. We just try and give you like different approaches.
Yeah.
And different
That's what
like
it
thought
takes.
processes.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
I'm like, am I saying that right?
Okay, English.
And so hopefully we can find something that clicks with you and, you know, roll with what works for you, leave what doesn't work for you.
Yeah.
So yeah, hopefully we found something that makes sense for volume. But again, I think the big takeaway for today is volume and power are not the same thing. And the meter on your phone.
Oh my God,
just
awesome.
proved that.
Very cool.
And yeah, just make it like having a full dynamic range is super important. So don't just focus on being louder, aka more powerful, but also focus on just an overall bigger dynamic range. And 80% is the max, and that should only be for a small portion of the song. And and everything else that we talked about, go listen to it again if you need to.
We don't have to push for volume. Like, you're really, especially like in higher belty notes, and when you're getting into mixed belty notes, you're using your resonators to create the illusion of power while you get to back off the gas pedal.
Yeah.
Yes.
Something else will do the work for you.
Yeah. I mean, if you listen to like Beyonce and Demi Lovato and like these high belters, like that's not a pure chest voice.
No,
it never is.
And we don't want it to be.
Mixed.
Oh my God.
Because that doesn't
Your
sound-
throat would die. Don't do that. And learn from me. I did it. So yeah, what we perceive it as and what is actually happening is not always the same thing. It's
Yeah.
actually very rarely the same thing, but that's okay. We are very good manipulators, like
Yeah.
singers are.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Love it. Anything else about volume? I think we covered it all.
Yeah.
I love it. Thank you guys.
Yeah.
I'm always getting such great nuggets from you guys. It's just like, oh yeah, I never thought about this. Or
It's like a mind meld. I love it.
yes, it really is. We are just becoming one big mastermind.
Yeah, it's one brain.
Yes, one big VoxTape brain.
I
It's
swear that's
lovely.
what vocal coaching anyways. It's literally just an amalgamation of every voice coach that you've ever had.
Yeah.
And just
Exactly.
regurgitating the information that worked for you.
Yes.
Yeah.
I love it. Perfect. Well, thank you for joining, ladies.
Yeah.
Thank you, everybody, for listening and tuning in. If you want to work with us, the link to book a session is in the thing, in the description,
Yeah.
in the box. Check the box.
Yeah.
And otherwise, we'll catch you in the next episode. Goodbye.
Bye.